Hello, very warm welcome. Driver ratings for the Brazilian Grand Prix. All 20 drivers covered as we rate them out of 10 for their weekend. An epic battle between Max and Lewis, and we go to Qatar in a week. 14 points between them. Interesting weekend, very interesting, especially by the stewards. And yeah, interesting. They give Hamilton a penalty. Red Bull get a fine. And now Lewis has been given a fine for adjusting his seatbelts, even though he does it all the time. So why have they fined him now? I mean, he always does that when he wins. So interesting, I would say. Very sceptical. But driver ratings for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Let's get into it. Max, 9. So, title favourite, race favourite, P2 in quali, and then he got a fine for touching Lewis's car, checking the rear wing, and then he finished second in the sprint race and finished second in the main race. His driving was on the limit as he forced Lewis off and was weaving all over the road, and he got a black and white flag. So yeah, I would say his driving was definitely on the limit, but yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Interesting. Sergio Perez, 5. He was bang average this weekend. Let's have it real. He got the fastest lap, but his sprint race was a shambles as he got beat by a Ferrari. And then in the main race, he was just P4. Nowhere. Non-existent. Yeah, I thought he was very average. Daniel Ricciardo, 5, was looking good for points, but then retired due to a power loss. And a very bad day for McLaren as they lose a lot of points. Norris, 5, had a good sprint. Great fight back in the race, but at the start, he got a really good start. Then he cut across Sainz. Driver error by Norris, but a good fight back to P10. But a horrible day for McLaren in the Constructors. Giovinazzi, 5. He had contact with Kimi in the sprint, but wasn't really his fault. And in the main race, P14, I believe he had contact with Stroll. Kimi, 7. As we say, contact with his teammate in the sprint. Didn't really give him enough room. But in the main race, he went from the pit lane to P12. Strong. Gasly, 9. Mr. Consistent. Sprint P8. P7 in the main race. Some great battles with the Alpines. Now, Gasly really needs help because AlphaTauri and Alpine are level on points in the Constructors. Alpine have got 2 men scoring. Gasly's doing it on his own. And we go on to Yuki, 0. He's just not got it, has he? I mean, he's miles off Gasly. Gasly was 5th, Tsunoda was 13th. He's been out-qualified 19-0. And contact with Stroll in the race, 10-second penalty. A horrible weekend for the young Japanese man. Schumacher, 5. Contact with an Alfa Romeo in the race. And actually beaten by Mazepin, so average weekend for Mick. Nikita Mazepin, 7. Made a huge save in quali on one of his better weekends as he beats Mick Schumacher. In qualifying, he was very emotional and tears in his interview. And it showed a bit of passion and a different side to Mazepin that we've not seen. And he beat Mick in the race. Showed a different side to him, and I think the fans like to see that. Valtteri Bottas, 9. Winner of the sprint race with a dominant drive, but then in the main race, lets both Red Bulls past very easily again. Jumped Perez under the virtual safety car, played the team game, finished 3rd. Lewis Hamilton, 10. Wow. What a roller coaster of emotions this weekend. He gets pole position, then he gets a penalty for DRS infringement, then he goes from 20th to 5th, overtook 15 cars in like 24 laps. Then he gets a 5th-place grid penalty. 10th to the race win. Pushed off by Max. Kept going, got the race win. And yeah, what looked like a horrific weekend and the title gone, the title is now back on. And Lewis, once again, proved his doubters wrong. Yeah, all the bullshit into a race win. And they've even stewards after the race. Oh, come and see us about the seatbelts, even though he does it all the time. That is not a new thing. He does it all the time. Yeah, they're being very, very dodgy, the stewards, I would say. Showing signs of favouring Red Bull. And that is pretty clear to see. Hamilton getting all the penalties, Red Bull changing their wings, and nothing said. Max forcing Lewis off, nothing said. Interesting. Leclerc, 10. Once again, Ferrari scored massive points on McLaren in the Constructors. Carlos Sainz, 10. Had that contact with Norris, wasn't his fault. P6, big points on McLaren, and Ferrari looked like they could have third wrapped up. George Russell, I have got to say, 0. I thought he was horrible this weekend. Out-qualified by Latifi, beaten in the sprint by Latifi. In the main race, he finished 13th, but yeah, I thought George was quite poor. Latifi 6, one of his better weekends as he beat George in the sprint and quali, but in the race, the main race, he seems to really struggle in the main race, only 16th. Fernando Alonso 8, big points, and tied with Alpha Tauri. Played the team game as well, had some great battles. Ocon 8, obviously great points for Alpine as a team, big battles, and Alonso and Ocon working well as a team, and they really could beat AlphaTauri because 2 drivers Alpine, only 1 at AlphaTauri, with Yuki not scoring points. Seb 6, just missed out on the points, P11. Strong sprint race by Sebastian, but yeah, he should be scoring points really. But yeah. Lance Stroll 5. He had a bit of an up and down weekend. Out of Q1, very angry with himself. And then hit by Yuki, massive damage to the car. So let me check, we got everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There we have it, driver ratings for the Brazilian Grand Prix. All 20 drivers covered as we rate them out of 10. We go on to Qatar in a week's time, and the title fight is still on. It's still on. Comment down below your thoughts.